Hi everyone, welcome back to the Big Blue Dome. Today I'm just going to have a look at a retake nearly a decade later of the Pranaview Aura goggles, which is a video I made a long time ago that were invented by a chap called Tom Beauchamp, which since has just disappeared. I've tried contacting him for nearly 10 years now, and all emails just hit a dead end, which is a bit of a bugger because it's a great product. The original Aura goggle was invented by Walter Kilner, who used some screens with a liquid called dicyanine coal tar, which allowed the eyes to be sensitized to the near infrared and the near ultraviolet. Our eyes are actually unable to perceive those frequencies, so thus it's the near. Nearly 100 years later, Tom Beauchamp, who, as far as I know, was the only person in the world to actually have use actual photospectrometry to measure wavelengths of light and find the frequencies and recreate what Walter Kilner did in some goggles. So there's two models pretty much came out. This one here, which is the basic, which was actually used after you sensitized with Model 2. So Model 2 you'd use for about 60 seconds while looking at a bright light, a lamp, anything but the sun. Then what you do is you'd close your eyes and you'd put the basic on, which is pretty much a lesser contrast shift between infrared and ultraviolet. So this was sort of like more of a mild blue. So when you actually look through these, when you put them on your head, everything is an absolute striking red and a striking purple. Plants, just the most brilliant red you've ever seen in your life, as opposed to these ones, which you still see the red, but just not as much as the contrast. So the Model 2 came in this wonderful box that looked like this. And so when you got it, it was wrapped in this nice gold paper, and these were the goggles themselves. So basically they're put together, looks like, welding goggles. When you take these apart, they've actually got about 4 or 5 different layers of various filters which have been individually calibrated to the spectrum of light that you wish to perceive. And I suppose the big question is, do they work? Yes, they work, and they still work very well. What I have found is that when you actually use the Model 2 to sensitize your eyes, then move over to the basic model, when you put your hands together, and most people have seen this exercise where you put your hands together and you move, it feels some tingling, and you'll sometimes see little wisps between your fingers, hit and miss. Maybe you think it's your imagination. With goggles on, it's as clear as a bell. So it looks like clear water. So around your fingertips, you actually will see a dark, looks like black water around here. And you do see the fingerets of the electromagnetic field or the aura move in and out as you pulse your fingers. And also around people, you'll see it. Around birds, you'll see it. And also around all living things, you'll just see that glow, which is actually quite amazing. So the second one was the basic. So these ones actually were a lot cheaper, probably because of products that were made. They look exactly the same. So once you remove the gold paper and unwrap them, you've got the basic, which look exactly the same. They're a little bit lighter, still really well made, still with the dark filters. I'm sure these things would have cost an absolute fortune to make. They're actually quite expensive, $200 to $400, something like that. It was a long time ago to use, so you use these quite well. So these ones that you'll use after you sensitize your eyes, you actually go into a darkened room with either a lit candle or some sort of light source coming from one direction. Look at your own fingers doing that sort of hand exercise, or a willing participant. They also came with some really good instructions, which I'll just put in front of the camera, see what we can do here. Which you can see. So instructions for using the basic Aura goggles. So had the token warning, don't look at the sun. If you do, you're a bit of a goose, really. And how to use them. How to get the best out of them as well. Second page was just observing conditions, appearance of the aura, how to actually see the aura through averted gazing, and how to actually view. Also, if you wish to clean them, which you can do, the limited lifetime guarantee, like these things are over a decade old and they're still in amazingly good condition, fantastic. They were a really, really good product. And the assembly of actually what's inside violet glass. And just remember that every one of these, when you bought them, was calibrated with spectrometry to make sure that was the exact within a nanometer of wavelength. So they're actually absolutely perfect. And on the back as well. They also came with, which was really interesting, it was the first time I've ever seen, was auric development scale. So this is a scale that you would, between like 1 and 10, whether you saw nothing, a haze, full colours, and you can actually progress. So it was the only sort of product that ever had a training session without, all the more the esoteric paraphernalia that surrounds the electromagnetic field or the aura that we all become familiar with. So what I found after using these for the first 6 months was randomly, people at work and people walking around, I would see the colours around the head in absolutely in full pastel bright colours, which would amazingly take me by surprise. And to the point, it was so incredible that it would only last for a few seconds, because when it appeared, it would actually shock you out of it and go like far out, these things actually do work like amazingly. What else with these as well? I'll see if I can actually get a bit of a look at them through the camera itself and just see if you can see anything. Any colour? No. So they're very, very dark. So when you actually look through these things with the light, I have on a previous video, I showed what it looked like looking at the plants, but it really does look nothing like that. So camera technology doesn't actually replicate what you see through these goggles. It does show a shift of the blue, the purple and the red with a near infrared and near ultraviolet, but it really doesn't look like that at all. It's when you do look through them, it is like an absolutely different world. And what is amazing, back in the day, I used to run workshops on just seeing the aura, and people would sensitize with these goggles and use these goggles, and you actually watch each other and do the fingertip and head exercise and actually all describe and see the exact same thing. So that took that guessing work out of it, imagination and all that stuff. So they did do, and they still do what they do. If you happen to find a second-hand pair on the internet, I highly, highly doubt it. These things are as rare as hen's teeth, and they do work. And as far as dozens of models I've tried of this from all different companies, and this is by far the only legitimate product that I've pretty much ever come across in my life, as far as aura goggles go anyway, and something that you can actually wear. And you'll find that when you did use the Model 2, the sensitization, even doing it once a week, would carry over to about 2-3 days, and also allowed you to see things that, other sort of phenomena as well, as far as what you'd call spectral activity or orbs and all that sort of stuff, that as opposed to you seeing with a normal camera or a full spectrum camera, will allow you to see them with your eyes. I'm so glad that I did keep these two. I used to actually sell them, but I couldn't keep up stock. And then they disappeared. So there you have it, the Pranaview Aura Goggle, the basic and Model 2. Like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.